But we start this hour with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has slammed his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese as a weak politician amid a row after Canberra declared it would recognise a Palestinian state. History will remember Albanese for what he is, a weak politician who betrayed Israel and abandoned Australia's Jews. That was a post made on an official X account of Netanyahu's office. Australia's foreign minister criticised Israel for revoking visas of Canberra's diplomatic representatives to the Palestinian Authority after Australia blocked far-right MK Simcha Rotman from entering the country. Penny Wong called Israel's move an unjustified reaction, saying it undermined peace efforts. Later, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar confirmed the visa cancellations, citing Australia's recognition of a Palestinian state and refusal to grant visas for Israeli figures. Well, joining us to discuss this huge update, of course, in the ongoing diplomatic confrontation surrounding the war in Gaza and potential solution is Yossi Kapawasa, an Israeli intelligence and security expert who joins us live from Tel Aviv. As always, Yossi, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure today to speak with you. How significant do you take these comments from Benjamin Netanyahu? Of course, Australia, one of many countries who have spoken about recognising a Palestinian state after this conflict is finished.
Well, I think it's important because it's a reflection of the frustration in Israel with what's going on by a couple of countries that have declared their intention to recognise a Palestinian state. This is a move that is hardening the position of Hamas, makes the impression that the 7th of October was the right thing to do for the Palestinians because they are rewarded with all kinds of things that were not available to the Palestinians until now. And promote the 7th of October is promoting the Palestinian cause, according to this policy. So we are very upset about that. And on top of that, the idea that the Australian government will prevent an Israeli member of Knesset, who, unlike what you said, is not a far right, is a right wing, but is not an extreme far right, prevent him from having visa to Australia, sounds really weird for any Israeli. This follows the refusal to give visa to another former member of the government and of the Knesset, Ayelet Shaked. This entire policy of the Australian government is totally misunderstood or ununderstood in Israel. We cannot comprehend what is going on with the Australians.
Yes, Yossi, of course, not just this statement. You've alluded to some of the reactions that we've had to Australia's call to recognise a Palestinian state. Another part of this is Israel revoking visas of Canberra's diplomatic representation for Palestine and the Palestinian region and Palestine authorities. Do you think that this is just the start of a further escalation between two countries that, of course, been allied in the past?
Sincerely hope not, but look at what's happening in Australia. It's not only those steps against Israel that they are taking, it's also the growing anti-Semitism and all kinds of attacks on Jews and Jewish institutions in Australia. This is something that we cannot stand look at it and remain indifferent. It's something has to be done in order to make it clear to the Australians that we do not accept this attitude, not towards the Jews in Australia and not towards the conflict between us and the Palestinians.
Yes, absolutely, Yossi. I'm glad that you brought that up. Of course, there have been incidents of anti-Semitism in Australia in recent months. The government has condemned these instances regularly, but of course the rhetoric in Australia is something that has been looked at surrounding Israel amidst the war in Gaza. Yossi, before we move on, I just want to get another reaction from you relating to that news that we had overnight. Of course, sources suggesting that Hamas has agreed to the ceasefire proposal for Gaza. We've heard from Qatar and Egypt that the proposal is very similar to a proposal that Israel has already agreed upon. Is this a shining light of optimism in a war that's almost 2 years old?
First of all, it's similar. It's not very similar. It's similar that it talks about releasing many more terrorists who are murdered the Israelis from jail in return for those hostages. And there are other conditions that are not exactly as they were in the original version. But this is not the problem. The problem is that what is proven by that is that what we need to do is to have a clear threat to Hamas that we are going to take them away from the government in Gaza, remove them from government. And that is the one thing that works. And they changed their mind. They were against it until recently. The reason these talks have failed is because they refused to accept the original deal. And they came with all kinds of really extreme demands. And now they cut down their demands considerably, which makes it at least something that can be discussed. Although I'm not sure that we are going to accept it, because what we want to see happening is a deal that releases all the hostages and not part of the hostages. This deal talks about releasing 10 out of the 20 living hostages. It's not enough. They are suffering. They're in a very deep, very dire situation.
Yes.
The hostages, we need to release them as soon as possible. This stage-by-stage deal that doesn't guarantee that Hamas is going to be removed from power is a problem for Israel. I'm not sure we're going to take it.
Absolutely, Yossi, of course, and the ramifications potentially there in Israel. If Israel does agree, the Israeli government does not agree to this hostage deal. We have, of course, had protests, and we will continue to monitor whether Israel says yes to this proposal or not. Yossi, thank you, as always, for joining us and providing such great insight. We'll move away now from the Middle East